Okay, we're picking up the board meeting where McFarland got done making all of his excuses for the low-income fare and the Trimet jail. And that's in a previous episode. If you're interested, you can go scroll through my blog. But we're picking it up there at the end of his bullshit excuses is where we're picking up the board meeting right now.
Neil, the policing facility that we're replacing, does the existing facility have holding cells and interrogation areas?
Yes.
So this is not new.
No.
Because of this project.
And I would also note that this is not related. It gets conflated, I think, unfairly with fair enforcement. To a large extent, those exclusively those facilities are used for public safety purposes. When we have people who are unsafe, either to themselves or others that need to be detained, and really, frankly, for the safety of our staff and our fellow riders.
What the fuck is he talking about? Jesus, he's trying to minimize. It's a goddamn transit jail, okay, with transit interrogation rooms. I mean, it's fucking crazy, man. What's a transit system doing with a jail?
So again, that's a existing use, and it also we have similar facilities at our other precincts as well.
Go ahead. Oh, wait, Joe, did you? Okay, all right.
So I want to first start off by thanking Opal and Bus Riders Unite for I think, one of the...
Oh boy, here he goes. Here he comes. Stovall. Let's hear what his bloviation this time.
Best presentations I've heard since I've joined the board. It was something that I think was from the heart. It was well informed from their perspective, and so I appreciate a discourse that we can have with that level of professionalism. So Hugh, thank you and your team for doing such an excellent job of bringing a cogent argument to the table. I also want to say that I think the combination of the Black Lives Matter movement and the police precinct is something that I see as separate issues. I don't at all disagree with the perspective that you have combining those, because what you see is from one situation is something that directly impacts the other. But I don't connect the two specifically to say that these are to do the police precinct says that I don't care as a board member about the Black Lives Matter movement. Me personally. I'm challenged by the idea that that folks would consider me as a representative of the African American community, just as an individual, is something that wouldn't be close and near to my heart. But again, I don't fault anybody for their perspective on how I exist. Born to a single mother of 20 years old, and I was the fourth child in that household. I can tell you that I don't come from means. I come from a lifelong struggle in the inner city of Kansas City that has brought me to where I am today. I don't look at it as not everybody has the same opportunities, because everybody does not have the same opportunities. I know that for sure. I've got siblings and other family members that didn't have quite the luck that I did, and some of the opportunities that I got to get me where I am today. So I am a rider of the system. I am not transit dependent. I will tell you that. I'm not transit dependent, but I am a rider of the system. And I enjoy the system. And I live in a facility, in a building that's right next to Trimet. And recently I thought about moving, but the one reason that kept me where I am is my proximity to Trimet. I ride the 4 and I ride the Max. I wouldn't say frequently. Again, I'm not transit dependent, but anywhere from 10 to 15 times a month, regularly. And so I get to experience the phenomenal system that is out there and that we have. And
there he goes again. It was a very nice, heartfelt story about how he grew up. His mother was 20 when he was born, and he was the fourth child. That seems a little weird, doesn't it? I wonder if he made some kind of mistake about that. Here he goes with his gushing. He actually was making sense there, and then he he went over to we have this fabulous system and it's just the greatest. You lose your credibility when you start talking like that, okay? Talk realistically. All right, don't start painting everything with we are the most wonderful thing in the world, because as soon as you start that, you become transparent in terms of your sock puppetness. Okay, that you're only there to support McFarland and the Trimet henchmen. That is what the board is doing there. I hope people do realize they're only there to support McFarland and his henchmen. They're not there to support the community or the bus drivers or anybody else. They're selected specifically to back up McFarland. All right, and so here he was trying to make some sense about how, yes, I'm very sensitive to the needs of the minorities, and then he goes on to we have this wonderful, great system, and he loses his credibility. I don't think he has any credibility anyway. I think he's a blowhard personally, a careerist. He's on a board. He's got a career, and I'd love to know how he ended up on this board.
Again, we all speak from our personal experiences, and I respect that about you. I hope you respect that about me. I ride from Gresham to downtown Portland a lot. And I know everybody has their perspectives. I can tell you that as an African American man, and I'm not always dressed like this, folks. I have a hoodie. So I'm not always dressed like this. And many times when I'm riding Max, I'm not. And I can tell you, I actually have never had my fare checked between Gresham and downtown. I've had my fare checked, I believe, 3 times. They've all been downtown, downtown in the core. So that doesn't set any standards. So don't take this as I'm setting some type of standard to say it doesn't happen. That's not what I'm saying. But I can tell you from my experience, how I've experienced things. Now I will go further to say that as an organization. I've seen the reports, I've seen the data. We've got work to do. I completely agree with you. Hugh, I put it out there. I'd love to continue the conversation and continue to talk about how we can better address some of the situations that you have mentioned and your team has mentioned and the other folks have mentioned. But I will tell you that from the seat that I sit in as a board member and as an individual, the idea that minorities, and not just Black Lives Mattering, but the minorities in their access from poverty to prosperity, we sit right at the precipice, right at the Trimet as an organization sits right at that opportunity base. We've got to be able to leverage our resources, be able to move it forward. And again, I'll wrap this up by just saying you have your perspective on how we do that. I have mine, and I infuse it with the passion that I wake up with every single morning to move forward the opportunity that I have and I experience and that others don't get to. So again, I am more than open to come over to the Opal offices and continue the conversation to understand how we can be better at doing what we're doing, because we've got a long way to go, not just as an institution, but as a region, as a country. And I'll finish this off by saying I am supportive, and I'm going to vote in favor of moving forward with the facility.
So he just got done with all this bloviation, telling Opal how much he respects them and how much he loves them, but he's voting in favor of the jail. And I've always said over and over and over, don't listen to these words, the words of these politicians, and these are basically politicians sitting on that board. They're all selected for a reason, and that is to support Neil. And they all say all the right things, and they all try to get everybody to like them. But forget about the words, just look at the actions. The actions are the only thing that counts. And anybody that's been around as long as I have knows the words are always the right words. But then the actions never go along with the words. They do anything to try to convince the public that they're doing the right thing. But they're not, okay? And his just little speech right there, it was all for nothing, because he's voting for the jail. So you didn't hear them. You're lying. You're just trying to make nice, like a politician. And I don't know, but people need to stop listening to the words and forget about what they say. Just focus on what they do.
With the police precinct, because I believe it has, I'm a finance guy by nature, and I believe it has an impact in that arena. But again, I am more than open. I've been at your location already. I've had a conversation historically, and I'm willing to continue that so that we can be held accountable to those efforts.
Thank you, Director. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Joe.
sort of along the same lines about low-income jobs. The building trades unions, union or not, the building trades needs lots of people to sign up for apprenticeship. The average age is about 52, 53 years old. If you look around downtown here, there's lots and lots of work. 18 years old, a C in algebra or a GED, at 255 or 265. All the building trades actively recruit women and minorities to our trades. So it's a very good pathway from low-income jobs to higher income jobs where you can support a family, you can have health insurance, you can have workplace protections, you can have a pension. So BOLI, B-O-L-I, the State Agency for Labor and Industries, has that information when the openings are. John Gardner could probably help you with some of that. But if you just look around, there's a dearth of this. We probably have maybe in this state a couple $1 trillion worth of work. Everything from digging a ditch to working on top of a windmill. A green job, they call it now. Anyway, that's all.
What the fuck is Esmond talking about? What the hell does that have to do with anything? What is this guy? What the hell is he talking? What does that have to do with the transit? Man, oh man.